Hey everyone, today I'll be reviewing my new MOC, Frost. This MOC is part of my new Miniature MOC series. If you don't know anything about this series, each MOC has to have the smallest stomach piece or torso piece from Hero Factory, and they all have to have one of these rounded armor plate pieces for their helmet. That's really the only requirements for these MOCs. I also have to keep them pretty small. I will be building all of these MOCs. I already have, I think, 4 build videos out so far for the previous 4 MOCs in this series. And so I'm keeping their part count pretty low because I want everyone to be able to build these MOCs, and not everybody has a big supply of pieces. If you'd like to see the previous videos in this series, their links will be in the description of this video. Now, with all that said, let's get into the actual review, starting off with the legs. I went with a very simple design for the legs. As you can see, I used standard Hero Factory joint pieces for the underlying structure of the legs. There really aren't any techniques used for the leg design, for one, because I want to keep the part count down, as I mentioned earlier, and also to keep the legs pretty small and condensed. Using Technic pieces can really bulk up a design, and so I felt like going with the CCBS joints would be the better option. I used 4 of these second generation of Bionicle armor plates in white for the legs. I really like that armor plate. I believe it came in gold, silver, and white. And I think there's a Star Wars set that uses that piece in black, which that's really cool. I love this armor plate piece. It adds a lot of detail. I really like the arm design. I did something interesting. I added an extra joint here for the shoulder. There's a lot more posability because there's the shoulder joint, and then technically that could be considered another shoulder joint, and then the elbow. So there is a lot of posability to be had with this design. I think it works well. It kind of looks weird at first with that tiny joint. You can really get some odd poses, but as long as you keep his arms kind of forward and closed like that, it looks pretty good, and it adds some extra posability with that extra shoulder joint. That works pretty well, and it doesn't look bad if you keep the arms at a normal angle. And I think that's probably a good addition to this MOC. It is kind of weird, and I will be experimenting with that extra shoulder joint in future builds. I like the gun design a lot. This is some type of ice launcher. I think this gun turned out looking pretty good. I added this tank at the back to simulate some sort of ammunition, probably ice or some type of condensed material, possibly. I really like this printed armor plate piece. I got that from some Star Wars buildable figure. I think that looks pretty good on his arm. I added a sword on the back just because I thought he needed an extra weapon, and so I thought what better to add than a simple sword design. That also covers up some of the techniques on the back. Besides that, there's not really anything to point out. I do like the whole chest assembly with those ribbed wire pieces. Unfortunately, those will break every once in a while, and these are probably in danger of snapping at some point because of that kind of extreme angle. Those pieces are pretty fragile, and so you have to be pretty careful with them. Besides that, there's not really anything to point out in the body, so we can go ahead and move to the head design. I really like the head design. I gave the impression of him having a chin by using this small 1x1 flat rounded tile piece. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it's called. I don't have the Lego piece names memorized, as I'm sure you know if you've watched my previous reviews. I used one of those angled vent pieces, which I love to use in MOCs, for his eye, or eye guard, I guess. It looks like he only has one because it's such a narrow assembly right there. And this is a robot, so he probably only needs one eye. I really like this head. It's simple, but it's effective. If you pull this armor plate piece up, you can pull the whole face piece down, but as long as that's closed, there will just be a little bit of wiggle room right there. I can't wait to build this MOC. This one will probably be a fun build video. It might be a little bit longer than the others because this is a little bit more of a complex build. But I don't really have anything else to say for this one. As always, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos.